With eyes open or eyes closed, sinking into the mighty Om, or perhaps a head still filled full of tomorrow's shopping list or to-do list. Won't you come into this moment as fresh and open and available as possible, each in our own way. Whether you're an experienced meditator who has a mudra and a posture and a breathing pattern from years of practice, or someone who's been dragged here by a friend just coming for the first time to understand what meditation might be like. Consider just being present with your sacred, holy, whole self. Feeling the richness and fullness of this moment and the invitation to let it be. Whatever is in your life, whatever happened yesterday, whatever may happen at the doctor's office or at the bank or at the board meeting tomorrow, let it be just for this moment. And are you instantly calm and open? Wonderful. Are you still thinking and nervous or sleepy and scared? That's fine. Simply let it be. In and through you now. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy, let them just drift through your open mind. And I'll allow life, the Holy One, God, the Goddess, to possess and caress you from the inside out. Troubles may come, troubles may go, sounds will come, sounds will go, but nothing's going to change the world of who you truly are, an infinite being. Of love and light. If you're like the rest of us, your thoughts meander like a restless wind inside a letterbox, inside your brain. But again and again, you're invited to come back to a place of peace, a place where you simply let it be. Sink into the fullness, the wideness, the depth of life, all across the universe. All of creation is calling you to this moment. To the fullness and magnificence of who you are. All else melts away as you remember truly. All you need is love. Love of self, love of creation, love of the Holy One showering down upon you, through you as you now. Peace, be still. And from this place of peace and power, from this place of silence and openness, won't you send forth a blessing to another person, persons, or situation on the planet? Send forth that which is yours to send. your prayer, your affirmation, your visualization. Own the truth that no less than anyone else on the planet, you are a powerful being. Won't you own and send forth that power of love, that power of blessing, the power of knowing truly we are one. May you, may we, and all beings be blessed by your willingness to do this. And so it is. Amen. So as you may have heard me tell before, I was born in Holland, the Netherlands. Came to the United States when I was 5 years old. My parents immigrated here with myself and my brothers. But I was conceived in Indonesia, where my parents had lived all their lives as Indonesian Dutch colonialists. And so my mother was pregnant with me when my parents fled the Indonesian Revolution, or the war for independence, the consequences thereof. And they went to live in Holland for 5 years, tried to fit in a cold, tiny, wet, claustrophobic country for people who've been living in the warm jungles and open spaces of Indonesia. And in the Netherlands, my parents faced a great deal of discrimination because for the first time in history, there were a lot of people of color coming in from the colonies to live in the previously all-white nation of the Netherlands. And so there was a great deal of discrimination faced there, and so they went to the United States, immigrated here to South Texas. I tell you all that by way of explaining that I've spent most of my life feeling like an outsider, like I didn't belong where I was, like there's something somewhere else I wanted to be. And much of my life work as an adult is learning just to be here. And there's this notion somewhere in my family's legend, there was a notion that over there was a better place to be. Indonesia, the place where we got chased away from, would be the better place. Or my mother thought, no, Holland would have been the best place for us to stay. And my teachers were telling me, no, this is the best country in the world. Meanwhile, I was trying to figure out where my place is in the world. And it's no mistake that I spend much of my time here in the celebration circle focusing on oneness and connection, because I spend much of my time feeling separate and disconnected. And my soul's longing is to connect and to be present with whatever and whoever I'm faced with. That's my very simple teaching. I don't know the 12 steps. I don't know the 37 roads to enlightenment. I just know two things. I got to be here, and I got to be okay with who I am. That's my work, and I got to be okay with who I'm with and the circumstances I'm with. So, when I was growing up, my father had a guitar, and he liked to play his songs. It was mostly keroncong, folk music of Indonesia, or old jazz songs from the Mills Brothers, or I don't know, something sisters. What were the sisters? Andrew's sisters and the Mills Brothers. He loved to play them on his guitar. And they were as foreign to me as Beatles songs are to some of you. You know, they're from old people, from way back when. So the guitar was there, never really paid much attention to it. That was Dad's thing, and it was about old people's music. And then February 9th, 1964, me and the largest television viewing audience in American history, until to this day, is the largest TV audience in American history of a regularly scheduled programming, tuned in to watch the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. And the very next day, there were 5 boys fighting with me for the one guitar that my dad had, because we all wanted to, yeah. It just looked like so much fun. I mean, Elvis Presley and Buddy Holly and the Crickets and Dion, whatever, all those 50s, 60s pop singers had no interest in me. They were just bland. But I saw the Beatles, and they were just exuding themselves. I want to do that. And I was a straight A student. School was not hard. I just found it pointless. Didn't see any point in memorizing what they had and then giving it back to them, especially since I could do it without thinking about it. Why? And daydreaming and feeling that sense of not having to participate in this intensely fast-paced, hard-driving culture that was going to a place that I just didn't and still don't resonate with, because it's hurtling toward death at a speed of life, and that makes no sense to me. And so I've come to this place in my life where I encourage folks all around me and myself to just slow down. And remember, this, as important and wonderful it is an illusion. Even lovely Emily and Adam sitting there so lovely and in love and so beautiful and handsome. It's just an illusion. You're just old people dying, really? You're just two more old people dying? I'm sorry, I don't mean to embarrass you, but you shine so much, and there's a part of me that wants to be that young and radiant in love again. And there's part of me that realizes I'll never be that young and radiant and loving again, and it doesn't matter, because who I am is eternal and loving and radiant in a whole different way that an old married couple of 35 years together has. It's entirely different from what you guys have. Not better or worse, but this is my reality. And to the extent that I keep wishing that I could look like, Tom Cruise or whoever's important and popular these days, or I don't know. There is this thing in our culture that I'm supposed to be faster and better and stronger and look like those people on the movies and act like those people on TV and have all that stuff over there. And what I have, what you have right now and right here is plenty. And everything else is illusion. And the Beatles were the first one to tell us that from a pop culture platform, and to say, we're the most famous guys in the world, and we're bored with it. We don't want to go on being the Beatles. It's boring to stand up there and sing songs that nobody hears because they're shouting so loud. We might as well send John Lennon famously said, we might as well send 4 mannequins and put them up on our stage in our absence, and no one would know the difference. They can't see us, they can't hear us. They're caught up in our illusion of we are who we are. We don't want to be that anymore. We're the richest, most famous band in the history of the universe, and we think it's boring. So then they stopped touring and started doing amazing things inside themselves, visiting gurus and dropping drugs and singing songs that made no sense to me. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, I'm sorry, I didn't get it. Because I wasn't dropping acid. I was, a 9th grader in New Braunfels, Texas. I didn't get what the Beatles were going on and on about, but I knew it was important. And I knew that something had fundamentally shifted in the way the world looked at celebrity and looked at what's important in the life. And as I stand here today, there's a part of me that knows that my life is richer because John Lennon walked the earth, and because Paul McCartney sang in his chirpy choir boy voice, and because the two of them created songs from that wonderful synchronicity, harmonizing of black and white and darkness and light. And I know the Fab Four changed our world, and I know that fundamentally the Beatles don't care. and that I shouldn't either. Because it has nothing to do with the Beatles. If the Beatles taught me anything, it's that it wasn't about them, and it wasn't about you, and it wasn't about your approval of what I'm doing. It's about singing my truth and being the best who I can be, and just letting that be enough. That's their story, but it happens to be my story too, and I'm sticking to it. Black.